Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Check out these headlines. The Clarity Act, is it hit a roadblock or is it on its way to passing? We need to touch on it. XRP DeFi, how about 10% APY? Guess who just joined Swell? And XRP, $19 plus? Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. I will be getting a new microphone this week, ladies and gentlemen. If you've noticed any difference with the sound of the videos, it's because my microphone went down on me and I just haven't had an opportunity to get the new one that I want just yet, but I should have that resolved this week. So appreciate your patience. $3.99 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 3.5%. Bitcoin 112,000 plus, Ethereum 4,100 plus, XRP back at the number 4 spot, slipping there from the number 3 spot to 283, and we're off 4.9 on the 24 and off 5.5 on the 7-day. Now you can see, just to touch on it here, you can see the entire market is off. So the entire market's down below 4 trillion. We see 3.5 off on the market collectively. We see Bitcoin off 2.5 on the 24, 1.7 on the 7-day. Ethereum, much like XRP, off 6.9 on, or 6.1 on the 24 and off 7.4 on the 7-day. So just letting you know that it's the market in general that's down right now. And you know what? We're getting ready to roll out of September, and the doldrums of August and September are about to be over. And then we're going to be on to the legislation, which we will talk about in just a second, but ranging between $2.77 and $3. And not one of you called me last night when it hit $2.77. Now, what's going on? I thought we were friends. I got to be honest, at $2.84. It's looking like buying time's back again, ladies and gentlemen. Here, let's talk about this for a second. It's iTrust Capital, ladies and gentlemen, and DAI and myself have come together. We're working with iTrust to offer new clients an exclusive $100 funding bonus, as well as if you're already a customer, you know how incredible it is to work with iTrust, especially understanding they do, in fact, have the best crypto, gold, silver IRAs on the planet. I mean, it's not even up for discussion. So listen, if you've had that wonderful experience, why are you not trying the premium custody account, especially if you're a long-term holder of assets in this space? And that's exactly why the premium custody account was even created. It was created as a closed loop system to protect long-term holders who really just want to put security first. And they thought, how can we do this for these customers? So this is what they've done. They've come up with this account where you go in with your cash and crypto, you trade all the assets that are available on the platform, and there are so many your head will spin. You do all the trading you want, you get all of that done, but when you come out of the account, you must come out as cash, and you come out as cash directly to your US checking account. Now, why is that? Because in case you're ever SIM swapped, you click on a link you shouldn't have, you took a phone call and gave critical information you shouldn't have. So the worst thing that can happen in this situation is that the bad actor, should they gain access to your account, God forbid, the only thing they could do is cash you out and send it to your US checking account. That is what the closed loop system is. Is it for everybody? Maybe not. If you're a day trader, that's not something you may want. But I tell you what, I know a ton of long-term asset holders in this space, and they're loving this. I'm telling you, they're loving the daylights out of this, and you will too. So just go to itrustcapital.com/XRP Army, use the code at the bottom, and get started today. Oh, I love the peace of mind we're getting in this space, ladies and gentlemen. And now listen to this. This is CEO of Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, talking about the legislation, and he's very, very bullish.
One more piece of legislation that, as you said, got bipartisan support in the House already and now is being debated in the Senate. And this is what we call market structure legislation, which just simply means it's covering all of the non-stablecoin crypto assets, things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's resolving some of these outstanding issues from the last administration that got weaponized by people like Gary Gensler trying to go after the crypto industry because it wasn't clear, were these a commodity, were they a security? So this legislation is making great progress. I've never been more bullish on the chances to get it passed into law. This freight train has left the station, and there's people on both sides of the aisle in the Senate that are eager to get this legislation put on the books. Now,
that is true. However, we're going to talk about something here in a second. But look, I mean, he's super bullish on it. I'm super bullish on it. But then this came out here. Crypto regulations hit partisan roadblock in the Senate. Now, I told you guys that they were going to fund this thing just like the Genius Act. Remember, they did that too. Everything was great. We're going to put this thing through. It's going to be record time. You won't believe it. You know, next thing you know, they came out, well, I don't know. Looks like we might not get it done till 2027, 2028, right? Roadblock, they say. Crypto regulation hits partisan roadblock in the Senate. Well, you know what this is? This is nonsense. I can tell you that at my house, at least. This is the Dems in the Agriculture Committee are basically saying, oh, well, we haven't been offered a chance from the Republicans to author this bill, you know, and it's like, no, well, you know what? You had 4 years to author this bill when you had complete control of the government with the Biden administration. So sit down or you're going to be voted out, because here's the deal. Roadblock, here comes the FUD from Capitol Hill, just like they did for the Genius Act. The United States needs crypto legislation, Genius Act, Clarity Act, Strategic Reserve, digital asset stockpile bills passed and signed into law, because this is about ensuring the dominance of the US dollar for the next 150 years. Translation. Oh, and the Democrats acting like they have leverage heading into the midterms is laughable. We're getting that legislation passed and signed into law, or there won't be a Democrat left to talk about the issues on Capitol Hill. How about those apples? That's what's going on here. So this is political posturing. And I see this fudding that's going on, claiming that there's issues here. And of course, I'm not suggesting that they don't want these things. Of course, the Democrats would like to author this bill, but you had a chance for 4 years and you decided to put Gary Gensler at the SEC. So don't start acting like you wanted to do it all along now, right? Go ahead and stick to your guns. They'll vote your ass out so quick your head will spin. So that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. And this is from Paul Barron. And they're going to pass that bill. I'm telling you right now, they're going to pass it. Because their kids use US dollars too, right? Massive news is coming for XRP this week, Paul Barron says. Don't miss their channel. It's about to change the crypto game. And I say, you know what? Bring it on, Paul. I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit, baby. What do we got? Well, until Paul tells us what he's got, Axelar says we're introducing MXRP, a new yield-bearing liquid stake token that kickstarts DeFi on the XRP ledger, and it can unlock up to 10% APY for XRP holders. This is in conjunction with Midas as well. So look, check it out. Be careful when things are new. But it's exciting because there's a bunch more of that coming, and you can feel that it's coming. Now, let's quickly run through this. We know Ripple Swell 2025 in New York. Yeah, same place Wall Street and all the money is. NASDAQ, BNY, Citibank, BlackRock, Fidelity, JP Morgan, Franklin Templeton, CME Group, Moody's, State Street, DBS, and many more are going to be speaking and participating at Swell this year. Super excited for them. And then we got, in addition to all of these people, we're adding this guy. It's Scott Lucas. How about that? The head of marketing digital assets at JP Morgan. Yeah. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? Yeah. And remember when JP Morgan said this back in 2021? If Ripple wins that SEC lawsuit, XRP is poised for a significant adoption. Yeah, I remember when they said that back then. Well, we did win. And now we got the head of digital assets from JP Morgan participating in Swell. Well, isn't that special? And here's Scott Lucas, the guy from JP Morgan, who will be talking at Swell. And guess what he's talking about? Repo, baby. Yeah, the back-end overnight lending market for banks.
So that's where I think there's been some success in the market, and I'd point to our digital financing product, which is an intraday repo that's been around for a few years. Yeah, there's some specific parts of the market and some specific clients that have real value for that, because now you can do something with the technology that you couldn't do with existing technology. There wasn't the ability to trade today, settle today, mature today. Mm-hmm. Now there is, using that technology, but it also uses master repo agreements and global master repo agreements. It also uses existing tri-party allocation methodology and substitution methodology. It also uses existing account control agreements that are familiar from a legal and sort of other standpoint to both the client set and us. So it builds on both of those to solve a specific problem. And the whole repo market isn't going to go that way. Like that wouldn't be sensible. But adding something new for enough clients where we think there's value and then broadening that across the market, we do feel that sort of navigating a path through some of those constraints and some of those realities of putting a new product into the market.
Yeah, there you have it. Basically, he's expanding on the conversation that Ripple just started on the 17th, a few days ago, introducing the next building block of on-chain markets where they're partnering with DPS, Franklin Templeton Global, to establish the repo markets powered by tokenization and collateral and stablecoins on the XRP ledger. You know, exactly what Scott Lucas from JP Morgan was just talking about, and I'm sure we'll be talking about even more on stage at Swell. Yeah, that's where this is going. And that's why we're getting that market infrastructure bill too, right? And don't forget, the repo transaction volume is well into the tens of trillions of dollars globally. And we just saw Ripple announce that they're building that market powered on the XRP ledger. That's what's going on. It's super exciting. Now let's look at ETFs very quickly. Here's James Seifert from Bloomberg. Leveraged XRP products launched post Solana are seeing strong demand for XRP and even outperform Solana and his little VC buddies.
Pretty good, actually. But ironically enough, there's also Leverage Futures XRP and XRP products. They actually launched after the Solana products and had even more interest. So there's a lot of interest there. Is it going to be the level of interest that the Bitcoin ETF launch had? Absolutely not. Like anyone who thinks like, oh, Bitcoin ETFs took in 40 billion, my XRP ETF is going to take in the same amount or whatever.
That's not a Bloomberg analyst talking anymore. That's a Bitcoin maxi going, you know what? I have to protect Bitcoin now. There's just no way I could ever see that. That's not going to happen. It's like, you can't just simply talk about the success of XRP. You've got to go back to Bitcoin. This guy's a Bitcoin maxi hiding at Bloomberg as an analyst.
That's just not how this is going to work. These are longer tail assets. I think there will be demand. There will be plenty. There will probably be multiple products for each of these assets to do well. Maybe not all 10 of the ones I listed, but a decent amount of them. Is there going to be enough to have like 11 different products that are going to be successful and garner a ton of assets? Probably not. It's not the same as.
And I'm saying probably yes, because the reality is there's 17 ETFs in the weightings for XRP. And when it comes to XRP, I think James has got a mindset. And James, if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong. I'm saying it on the internet. So James thinks that this is all retail driven because James is a Bitcoin maxi and has done zero work when it comes to XRP, or he'd have a much different tone when he's talking about it. So it's clear that James is not very versed on what exactly is coming for XRP. And he knows these are institutional products and it ain't going to be retail driving them. So I'm excited to see all of this unfold and then to see his commentary once it does. Because the reality is Julio Marino, head of research at CryptoQuant, estimates between 1 to 4% of XRP circulating supply could be absorbed alone just by ETFs. Not to mention all the DeFi products that are starting to roll out. That would put 600 million to 2.4 billion tokens off the market in a qualified custodian for those ETFs. So this is going to get extremely, extremely exciting. And then we're waiting for the Ripple National Bank Charter. We're waiting for the Federal Reserve Master Account. You think they're going to keep releasing XRP all over the market for retail like that after they get that banking license? Oh, I think things are going to change. And we got the ISO 20022 cutover coming November 2025 for Swift and all other participants. No more cooperating phase, right? It is a big bang cutover. We've been pushing the dates back and watch it push back. Well, November is where we're going. So we are very close now And it'll be very interesting to see what all of this takes shape and how it really truly affects the markets once we get beyond November 2025 for that adoption. And just taking a look at some of the things that have happened here and what's still in front of us. RLUSD is released, Trump's inauguration, which Ripple donated to. Gary officially leaves the SEC. What a beautiful moment that was. XRP Strategic Reserve, digital asset stockpile will happen. Ripple case ends. We won, successful. Alt season, it's still coming. Ripple named big bank partnership. Of course we do. We got it all. XRP ETF approvals are pending. Hang in there. And so's that banking license, and so's the legislation. But I feel like we're getting all of it. And when we do, my goodness, what this market will look like. And right here, Egrad Crypto says, let's just look at the near-term targets and where we are here. It looks like the 50 EMA is on track to meet XRP around 277, which it hit 277. We reported that. Break through this target, we can see further downside, which isn't what we want to hear. He says, I know you might be tired of hearing me stating 265, but this level remains the most critical zone for the upcoming bull run. And when we stay above that, we're in that channel of noise that keeps us bullish. So while the lower time frames are worth monitoring closely, the higher time frames trends are still crystal clear. So all signs are still very bullish, regardless of all the bouncing around. And here, just give you a minute of this, is Dupert from All In Crypto. Take a listen to his prediction target for $19.20.
A asset to actually pull back, or a chart to find resistance. That's what it did in 2017. It pulled back. It then had another go at it, pulled back once more before smashing through it. I think something like this is what you're going to see once again. And this actually could take you to that $19.27 mark. We saw a move akin to what would get you there back in November 2024. We were positioned for that. I think we're positioned for further upside. So our price prediction remains the same. We've not really seen, or potentially are now seeing, technical patterns that may see us move to the upside. We have spoken about how potentially this could be a major cup and handle. And I can throw on screen a number of examples of cup and handles. It's a reliable pattern. It's really a story of trend continuation. When charts break into new all-time highs, typically they continue and will actually reach that target. I have done a cup and handle pattern for my Patreons, but we have looked at that as a possibility. We haven't given you the price prediction on the back end of that. We're really focusing on the more short-term one. Obviously, the cup and handle price prediction is going to be significantly higher than $19.27, but I want to focus on more.
So basically what Rupert's saying here is that $19.20 is really in the near term, right? In the next several months, like next 6 months or less is basically what he was calling in the video. And there's other targets beyond that too. So this gets super exciting, understanding the fundamental news that's sitting in there waiting for us. And I believe that it's not because we just want it, but because the U.S. government needs it for dollar dominance. That's why I believe we get these things. That's why I remain so enthusiastic and bullish on getting these things done. The fundamental news that will truly unlock the market. And then this market will never, ever look the same ever again. All right, not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. And today, oh my goodness, you know, we have a cool thing to look at today. You know, I don't even know how to like package this other than to tell you there is a language and levels of activity going on all around us that we're not able to hear or see or feel necessarily, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. And the thing is, it's quite remarkable. And the illustration to prove it, I'm going to share with you today. So I hope you'll join us in the Freedom Zone. Super cool one today. I think you'll love it. We're going in right now. So come on in.